So I just got home from seeing Alien, the original 1979 Ridley Scott, I want to call it a masterpiece, on the big screen. We level a lot of criticism at Disney, and most of it is deserved. Most of it is justified. But they have put Alien back in theaters for its 45th anniversary, and that's a good thing. They've also added an introduction. It's like 10 minutes, like a 10-minute intro with Ridley Scott and the director of the new Alien movie that's coming out. So it's sort of it is cross-promotional. They're promoting a new thing, but they're also giving us the thing that we already love, which is a good balance to walk. But having seen, so here's the thing, like I know the Alien movies fairly well. I've lived with them for a very long time. I saw a lot of them in the theater, but I've never seen the very first Alien on the big screen. And I got to tell you guys, it was a revelatory experience, because when you see this story in a dark room on a 40-foot screen with it's a 4K restoration, and you're with an audience of willing participants who are also there to celebrate this thing that we all love, it is a beautiful, beautiful thing. This movie does what it does so well. I was struck by how much of what I associate with the Alien franchise, the Alien series, that this movie actually establishes, and to the point that we don't need anything else. It's a fully formed, perfect, complete story. It's got the xenomorph as the perfect organism, right? So like the whole idea of this thing was born to kill, that like that's here. It's got the android aspect. It's got the, sort of the disguise, the secret, the whole idea of like there's someone among you who is not what they seem. That's here. There's the whole idea of the evil company that's pulling the strings on all this stuff, that values the asset of the xenomorph, of the alien, more than it values the lives of the humans. So all this stuff that the other movies do, and my goodness, they just keep on making these movies. The first one does so well, and it does it better than any of the others. Listen, I love Aliens, right? I love the James Cameron film Aliens, but it's like a sledgehammer. It's just like the kitchen sink. Like, you want this? We got a queen. We got the Space Marines, and then it's so long. But a lot of what Aliens does is actually an echo of what Ridley Scott does in the first one, just cranked up a little bit louder. But I would argue that the purity of that first movie is the ultimate Alien experience. I'm thinking about how deceptive it is, right? You start the movie and it's really lethargic. It's so quiet. These guys are woken up, the crew of this, basically, they're like space truckers. They've been hauling mining ore, and they've been in cryosleep, and they're woken up, and it's very quiet, it's a very slow burn, a slow reveal. They're inconvenienced that they have to go check out this transmission that they've received. It's a bother. Like, they're more concerned about getting paid. They're more concerned about, wait, how far are we from Earth? Now we got to go check out this signal. And so it reveals its secrets slowly and deliberately over the course of the movie. And I think that's beautiful. I think that's perfect, because it's not a dull movie. Anybody that says, well, the first Alien's kind of boring, right? They haven't paid attention. They haven't truly watched the movie, because if you follow that movie from where it begins to where it ends, it is a nerve-wracking film. I mean, but at the end of the movie, with the ship set to self-destruct, and they got the klaxons are firing, the alarms are going off, the lights are strobing, and that Ripley is being hunted. First of all, how about the fact that we have a awesome, strong female character in a 1979 movie? I know there's all this talk about, the agendas of modern studios. 1979, you guys. Ripley, one of the OGs, one of the greatest, one of the icons, right? So amazing, so well done. Giving her, it's like she's awesome from the very beginning of the movie. There's a scene where if they listened to Ripley, there's a thing where, and I don't want to talk too much about the plot, because there might be people watching this who haven't seen Alien, but there's a thing where they're going to let a character back on the ship, and she's like, do you not know the quarantine procedure? You can't let him back on the ship. If they listened to Ripley, none of it would have happened. None of this would have happened. So It's I'm telling you guys, it's really well done. Another thing that Ridley Scott does incredibly well is he uses empty space. He uses silence. And there's a great score. There's a wonderful Jerry Goldsmith score with some really memorable themes. But Ridley Scott he allows these long stretches of the film, especially in the tense, the suspense moments where there's nothing. It's just silence. Because when there's silence, you can fill it with things and it has more impact. And he also uses negative space. You know, one of the things I love about this movie is the set design, the art direction. Now, I'm not just talking about the H.R. Giger alien design and like the organic textures to everything, like the rib-like, you know, I'm not just talking about that. I'm also talking about like the Nostromo, the ship itself, the Nostromo, which is sort of a carryover from what we saw in Star Wars, where everything is such a used universe. Things look dirty, things look used. It's a ship, it's like a freighter, right? And it's got oil stains, there's things that don't work, there are lights that don't turn on like they're supposed to. And so, you know, we have the use of like the white walls, the white panels that did seem, you know, and like there's the new introduction with Ridley Scott. They talk about the timelessness of the art design. I feel like it was of the 70s because there's a lot of white, there's a lot of textures, but we have gone full circle. I mean, like now Apple has leaned into a lot of this stuff, and just like we associate white with technology and science and all this stuff. But it's also dirty. It's used and it's not perfect. And Tom Skerritt goes into this room towards the beginning of the movie to talk to the ship, which is Mother. You know, the computer on the ship is named Mother because it's the thing that's controlling everything in service of this corporation, of this company. And it's just a room full of lights. We'd call them LED lights now, but that's not what they are. But they're just tiny little lights, all hundreds of them, probably thousands of them all over this room. Now they do it with CGI and it would look really slick and it'd be like, oh, it's so clean. It looks a little used. It's because they're not all lighting up at the same time. They're kind of circling around. This universe feels touchable. It feels tangible. These characters feel approachable. And that's one of the beauties. That's one of the things that really works about Alien. You know, later films we get into Space Marines and we get into Prisoners and we get into Ripley as a mother and all this sort of stuff. But there's this purity of, we have everything we need in this 2-hour movie to self-contained. There didn't really need to be any sequels to Alien. Now listen, 20th Century Fox has been great to the Alien franchise over the years. They've done so many great releases. They've put out wonderful documentaries and special features, and they've given us the Alien quadrilogy, and they've given us 4Ks, but they've also chased Alien, and we're never going to touch Alien again. Like, this is this thing on a hill now. You know, we're never going to touch the purity of that experience. It exists as a snapshot in time, and it's this perfectly formed masterclass in suspense and science fiction and drama and horror and character. Everything just works. If you get a chance to see it on the big screen, I highly encourage you to do so, because again, when you don't have a pet in the room and you don't have your bathroom and you don't have, like, let me pause this and go get some Raisinets or whatever, you know, like, there is something to that experience. Like, we're all in this together. We're all sharing this movie together. I hope we can get back to that more and more as a society, because we're getting further from them. We're getting more isolated with our fandoms and our movie watching. We can't replicate the experience of seeing a movie with a group of other people who are excited to see that thing too. That shared communal experience. It can't be replicated. And I'm so glad I got to do that for Alien, because I love the movie and now I love it even more. Let's talk about Alien in the comments below, guys. Thank you so much. Until next time, I will catch you later.